to recall and always recall the 5 R's of storytelling. Purnani. Keep the 5 R's of storytelling in mind. Receive, reflect, retain, relate, and finally retell. So आपको you don't have to be a great storytelling के लिए only for the how to tell a story we can train you here. It's not a big deal. But to tell a story, हमारे grandmothers थे नहीं. They were all wonderful storytellers. Na? How the grandmother told you stories. And how you tell stories to your grandchildren. Most husbands try to tell stories to their wives. देखो सुरेश नंदा is laughing. इसका मतलब कहाँ है उन्होंने? So everybody tells stories and पकड़े ही जाना नहीं है. That's all. अगर पकड़े गए तो एक और story.
That will be another episode.
हाँ. So episode 2 सुना दो. Yeah. So we just have to be smarter at storytelling. Okay, so today I picked up a few stories from an epic called Mahabharata. Okay, from the Mahabharata, I'll share some stories. The stories have two elements. The story is told in an Indian cultural background and by practice and by customs. The basic Indian mentality is to hold certain things in reverence. For instance, suppose in Mahabharata, we are talking about Mahabharata, when they refer to Krishna in the Mahabharata, nobody will just say Krishna. It is in our culture to say Lord Krishna. So some people say it's a religious text. Just because you call somebody Lord Krishna, it doesn't become a religious text. Okay, then another question we ask is whether it actually happened or whether it is just a fiction. So by nature, we Indians again are not good. Achha, my volume is low. I'll try and increase the volume. Is it okay now? If it's okay, yeah.
Not quite. Normally, you speak out much louder.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's going up.
Yeah. So what happens is there's a question whether Mahabharata is a work of fiction or is it a actual incident. So if you look at the way it is said in Sanskrit, it is called an itihasa. Itihasa means it's history. But it is also called Amara Kavya. Amara Kavya means it's an immortal poetry. So an element of poetry is the storyteller's subjectivity into history. The combination will always be there. All of you saw the movie Titanic? Yeah, many of you have seen the movie Titanic. Did the crash happen exactly like they showed in the movie? No, a crash happened. But when they made it into a movie, a drama, okay, they are standing like this. So an element of, we don't call it an imagination. Say in storytelling, it's called subjectivity. Suppose I tell you, he was far away. Now, instead of that, suppose I tell you, he was miles away. Suppose I tell you, that person did something and I had a lot of pain. Instead, I say, you know something, my heart broke to pieces. So these are expressions which adorn a story. Therefore, our job is not to do research to find out whether it did happen or did not happen. Our job is to try to find out what can we learn from these stories. That's what we'll try. So that's our effort. I'm going to. The stories will not be any sequential order or something. Let's pick up stories here and there to drive home a point. The first point which I would like to drive home is, suppose you ask for certain things to happen. You want certain things to happen. in reality. Like there is something, I wish certain things should happen. I say, hope to acha hai. If this happens, it's good. If this happens, it's good. If this happens, it's good. So that we want certain things to happen. But whenever we want certain things to happen, it doesn't happen in isolation. They say if you pull a thread, you will find that the whole world is attached to it. Okay, it doesn't happen in isolation. So to connect that, we have a very beautiful story. There is a war, day one of the war, where two armies are facing each other, the Pandava army and the Kaurava army. The Pandava army is Senapati, not Senapati, the chief warrior, Dhananjay Arjun. He is the main warrior, the star of the team. He's got a horse-drawn carriage which is driven by no less warrior than Krishna. Krishna is a Yadava prince, a highly accomplished prince. He was the only person who knew the secret of the disc missile. Very accomplished. And he was a very good, accomplished Malyuddha. He was a wrestler too. Krishna was not just a flute player, he was a wrestler. He killed his mama in a wrestling match. So he was a wrestler, he was a Chakradhar. So these are his names. A very accomplished Yadava prince, a very accomplished warrior, a very wise man, a very wise person. He said, I will not take part in the war. Take part in the means I will not fight in the war. I will be available as a non-fighting warrior if you want to take me like that. So when that offer was made, Duryodhan said, he said, on the one side I will fight, on the other side my Sena will fight. So Duryodhan said, give me your Sena. Arjun said, you come and fight. He said, I told you, no, I won't fight. No, you be on my side. What do you want me to do? Drive my chariot. Okay. There is a beautiful lesson here. Okay. Let's say a very rich person comes and tells you, on the one side, I am there. On the other side, all my wealth is there. Choose what you want. आपको मैं चाहिए या मेरा पैसा चाहिए? What would you choose? It's a choice. You are free to choose your resources. You are free to choose material resources. You are free to choose human resource. Okay, simple thing. Let's go back to the story. Duryodhan said the opposite camp. And when I come in front, will they fight me? Sochna chahiye na. I am the prince of the land. Will my warriors fight me? They'll put the arrows down. Duryodhan ko itna kaam karna chahiye na mind. Arjun says, I am not interested in your Shakti. I am interested in you. Okay, looking at it from a bhakti angle. Bhagwan is more powerful, or rather more valuable than Bhagwan's blessings. If Bhagwan is on your side and Bhagwan's resources on your side. Okay. Like Mr. Adani, you want Adani or his property? I'm just using a name. Don't put politics into all this. I would anyway prefer Mr. Adani because he can win back all the property. उनका property को संभालना ही नहीं आएगा. You won't know how to handle his property in the first place. So when the choice is between human resources and material resources, the intelligent one chooses human resources. They are more powerful. So let's go further in the story. So just before the start of the war, both the armies. Yeah. Ratan said, yeah. So when the two armies are facing each other, Arjun tells his charioteer, please put my jeep, armored vehicle, front of the people who have come to fight me. I want to see who has come to fight. We must learn to face certain stark realities. Bhishma and Drona. Arjun is shocked. He said, to win this war, I have to beat my Dadu and I have to beat my Guru. So he says, Sachai ka samna kar beta. Very often when we are having property disputes, sister's husband, वही कहता है आचार्य
नहीं आ रही थी
Sambandhina, all the Sambandhis are there to fight. So in reality, when there is a dispute, there is no chacha, mama, dada, kuch nahi hai. There is only a dispute. Court mein jaake emotions don't work. That's what Krishna is trying to tell him. Emotions don't work. And so therefore, in our day-to-day life, especially when it comes to challenges, you have to face to face. There is no choice. There is no choice at all. And when there is a war or when there is a challenge, the person in the opposite side could be a very dear one. And unless you defeat the dear one, you cannot win the war. Arjun has to defeat Bhishma. Arjun has to defeat Drona. So he says, they love me. I mean, he doesn't say they love me. He says, I love them. Bhishma is my grandfather. I love him so much. Drona is my teacher. I love him so much. How can I fight? If this is the question, Krishna answers it very beautifully in this story. Is it, yaar, tum usko pyar karte ho, wo tumko return mein pyar karta kya? Socha kabhi? If Bhishma loved you, will he be fighting against you? If Drona loved you as much, will he be if it is both-sided, perhaps an even game. So one-sided and even game. Achha. I don't know why volume is so low. Kam karte hain. Because mine is in maximum volume here. It is in maximum volume here. It is in maximum. Are all you able to hear me clearly, or is it too low?
Absolutely.
Yeah, some people are able to. So
Absolutely.
yeah. I'm using the headphones because somebody is working at home. You know, my Mahabharata should not clash into somebody's. My son is working. Otherwise, there can be a Mahabharata here. So the son is working there. I have to be a little.
Absolutely.
So, okay. So now let us look at battle or any kind of face-to-face should be on even terms. Okay. So let's go to even terms. There is a game of dice being played. And when the game of dice is played, Duryodhan says, I will give the sticks. My mama will throw the dice. Okay. What should Yudhishthira have said? I will give the sticks. Krishna will throw the dice. Bola nahi na? So if you don't have on equal terms, you can have problems. Yeah. Whatever rules you say, it will be a problem. Rules should be even. If that is your rule, then I should also be playing by the same rule. We can't have two different rules. So this is one very important thing. And Arjun and Yudhishthir keeps saying, "Oh, mera bhai hai." He's like my brother only. Therefore, he means intention is only good. This is another big problem. आपने दीवार फिल्म देखी है ना? All of you saw the movie दीवार. दीवार में एक डायलॉग है, याद रखें. अमिताभ बच्चन will tell शशि कपूर, पहले ये बताओ मैं पुलिस वाले से बात कर रहा हूं या भाई से बात कर रहा हूं. So सतीश राय क्या है, शशि कपूर will say, भाई बोलेगा तो भाई सुनेगा, मुजरिम बोलेगा तो पुलिस वाला सुनेगा. Remember, law has to be equal. When you're talking to a police wala, you can't talk relationship. अरे तेरे भाई है यार, नहीं होगा ये. In the same way, when there are challenges to be met, you can't have different rules for two different parties. The rules have to be same. If the rules are not the same, we are going to have problems all over the world. Okay. I don't know whether it will be considered. I know political correctness वगैरह आता है. But sometimes, I'll just tell you the story without telling much of characters involved. Our characters, you put it there. Okay. There was a person who said, the country will be divided only over my dead body. But the country got divided. No? And for every little thing, there was unction, fast to death. Why was there no fast to death for the country's division, partition? See, same thing. One law for that side, one law for this side. It doesn't work. It leads to problems. It leads to more and more misunderstanding. Mahabharata is a direct reflection of the problems we have with certain neighbors. Okay, let's not, it becomes a little bit. I don't want to get into that's another different platform. But sochne wali baat hai. So you can take the story and try applying it. One law for that person, one law for this person. It doesn't work. Okay. So both the armies are facing each other. So Arjun says, how can I kill a person who is forget that he is my grandfather. Okay. Forget that he is a grandfather. He is a very good man. He is such a wonderful person. A dharmatma. How can I fight against dharma? What is Krishna's reply? If he is a dharmatma, why is he fighting on the other side? Resign karke aa jana chahiye tha. He has his justification. We are not going into that, but the argument is, how can I fight a dharmatma? A dharmatma should behave like a dharma. You can't say I am a dharmatma and be on the wrong side. Ho jata hai. It happens all the time. All the sweet talkers always stab you behind the back. It always have. All the sweet talkers. You will think they are so good. Arey, wo hamare favor mein hai. But what will happen is pachak se bhog dete hain. But as long as you recover and you are able to understand, doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani, you will understand that. So it's a beautiful story up to that point. Okay. So I'm going to take you to a situation, another situation. Let me look at the time. Yeah, 6:20. At about 6:30, I'll ask another storyteller. Okay. We'll see only a few stories today. Mahabharata has so many stories, I can run 1008 episodes. So another lovely story in the same script. The die game is lost. And they are saying that your property is gone. You are now banished to the forest. And he says, as you have lost Draupadi in a game of dice, she is my slave now. And when she refuses to come to the court, so the Duryodhan says, you strip her, humiliate her. So when she is being humiliated, who are all on the court there? One person is Dhritarashtra. क्या हो रहे हैं भाई? I am not able to see anything. Okay. His wife, वो deliberately blind कर रही है. वो भी बोल रही है क्या हो रहा है? So when wrong things are happening around you, so one person can't see, the other person does not see. Double the problem. Okay. So if you are something wrong is going on, you're in a problem. Another person says, no, I can't see what is happening. No, sab theek hi ho raha hoga. It should be fine only. So either way you cannot see or you refuse to see, either way there is a problem. So somebody said, suppose there is so much adharma and your life is also in danger. So how can you speak against adharma? I said, a letter to the editor likho na yaar, tweet karo in a nice language. There is something called tweet. Now you can tweet in a nice language. You can use what is called like a language hota hai, a nice diplomatic language. You can use that. And it is diplomacy is an art. You would have read the story of Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar ko assassinate kar diya, and he says, Mark Antony, say what you want, but don't talk against me. He said, no, sir, I will not talk against you. I'm sorry, जब Julius Caesar does did ये किया आप लोगों के लिए भलाई किया, he did this for you, he did this for you, he did this for you. Yet Brutus says he is an ambitious person. But Brutus is an honorable man. But Brutus is an honorable man. So you can say, no, find a good thing, but ये कहता है यार तो होता ही होना चाहिए. So there is a way of talking. So at one point, so these two people are not cooperating. So then she appeals to Bhishma. So Bhishma is a very powerful warrior, Pitamaha. His word is law. And when she is appealing to him, what did Bhishma Pitamaha do? He also refused to look at the problem. She appealed to Dronacharya. Dronacharya says, when Bhishma is keeping quiet, main kya bolu? Okay. So cut. I'm taking the scene back to another epic called Ramayana, where Ravan was abducting Sita. Nobody was there to protect her. There was an old vulture called Jatayu. Jatayu came to fight and got killed. It talks about two situations. In one situation, though the Jatayu is old and feeble and cannot fight, but when he sees Adharma, he says, I will fight. Another situation where powerful, itna strength hai, but when he sees Adharma, he says, oh, I am bound by promise. It's not standing on judgment on anybody. It is situation. It is a situation. And this situation was repeated in Indian history. It was repeated in Indian history. I don't want to use this forum to tell you that. Perhaps I'll separate the YouTube video. You can come and listen to that story. It was repeated, starkly repeated in Indian history. One party affected. But when the other party hits back, no, don't hit back. So it was revealed in Indian history. Okay, then I'll tell you one more story before I pass it on to the next person. Another story is in the battle. There is a battle going on between Arjun and Karna. So a lot of people sympathize with Karna. Simple Karna, arey acha aadmi tha. It is like, in cinemas they show. The villain is a good villain. Like last scene में दीवार में जब अमिताभ बच्चन को गोली मारते हैं ना, you all feel sad for Amitabh Bachchan. And सब शशि कपूर को गाली देते हैं. So like that. Now when Karna is killed. The dramatization is like that because what we have not read the Mahabharata. We have read who is the person who made that movie? B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata, because we are reading that. And then people from Tamil Nadu would have seen a movie called Karna. Usme hero is one Shivaji Ganesh. He is a public favorite. So when Shivaji Ganesh is killed, nobody likes. Not only Krishna, everybody is hated. So when I'm only going to take one episode, I'm not going to take the whole life of Karna. I'm only going to take one episode. Karna is on the ground. Okay. Partha. Arjun is on the chariot. Krishna says, Maro. He says, how can I kill a first person who is Nihatta? And Karna also says, yes, I am unarmed. How can you kill an unarmed person? So Krishna tells him, you are not unarmed, you are disarmed. You came armed to teeth with fight with me. You had all the weapons with you. You got Nagastra, this Astra, everything you had. But now you are disarmed. So then he said, but now I am on the ground. And according to the law of according to the rules that we'd agreed in the war, before the war, a person on the ground cannot be attacked by a person on the chariot. He said, Badhiya, yes. But where was this rule when you people killed Abhimanyu? Abhimanyu had also the same situation. Huh? He said, come 1-to-1. Yaar, char milke idhar udhar se usko maregi nahi. So why do rules change for you and another rule for me? And then Arjun is still hesitating. How can I kill him? So Krishna tells him one more lesson. Now, if the roles were reversed, for example, you were in Karna's position and Karna was in your position, he will not hesitate to kill you. Therefore, kill. After he killed, later on he says he was actually your brother. So sometimes, why is that relayed late? Quite simply because sometimes personal relationships cloud judgments. In our real life also, personal relationships can cloud judgment. Now, suppose I say something and I am not related to you. You say, "Nahi yaar, galat bol raha hai. Ulta seedha bak raha hai." How can you say all this? But suppose I was personally related to you or a close friend or something, you say, no, he's just a close friends who are supposed to be otherwise candid, central area, very balanced. But because there's a friendship involved, they will go fight, panga lenge kisi aur se. No, you are wrong. So these are some instances. There are a lot more stories at some point of time. So I wanted to look at three stories, particularly the episodes like when you want to face when you are facing challenges in life, it will not be a single front challenge. It will be a multi-front challenge. There will be so many factors, known, unknown factors, which you will have to face. And unless I am dridha, unless I have strength of character, challenges will overcome me. When there is adharma in the society, it is important to stand up for adharma. Stand up against adharma, not for adharma. We are all prepared to stand for adharma. Stand up against adharma. If you are not strong enough to fight adharma, at least say adharma. Say that what you are doing is wrong. Galat hai. Don't say do what you like. No, it is wrong. I don't approve of it. Ghar mein ho sakta hai. Ghar mein particularly, if it happens, you say no. It is not proper. Bolte rahiye. That is important. You say, no, it is not proper, but do what you like. No, correct nahi. It is not proper. It is not proper. It is not proper. Has to be driven. Yeah, Surya Narayan Raoji wants to say something. You're free to share. Then I'll move the baton to.
I'm supposed to be listening only,
but you had a hand up.
Platform, I can ask
please.
A question.
Yeah, please.
Which will make people think.
Yeah.
See, this Ramayana and Mahabharata are two itihasas which come towards the end of the Dasavatara.
Yeah.
Now, if you see the sequence of the Dasavatara, you find that the first 2 or 3 are isolated instances. It's a short story. And then by the time you come to Hiranyakasipu, it's a slightly longer story. Several incidents. The small boy comes in, he is tortured by his father because he believes in God and so on. And then when you come to Vamanavatar, it's a conflict between 2 people. One who is an intense giver, and yet he's got certain bad characteristics. And he is the one who is to be. So there is a bit of a dialogue. If you read the Bhagavatam, you find that in the case of Vamanavatar, there is a dialogue going on between these 2. In the others, there is none. Fellow merely comes, kills, and out. That's the end of the story. Now, as you progress further and further, you find that these 2 stand out alone. They're extremely long stories. They do peak at that stage. Why? Why is it that there are not such truths in the earlier things also? These 2 alone, they stand out. And then when it comes to the last one, evil has already started in the Dwapara Yuga. So Sri Rama was ideal king. He stood for good things. Krishna was the chap who manipulated, which meant that seeds of discord, all these things. A certain amount of cheating came into the picture. And then you find that carries into the Kali Yuga. The beginning of the Kali Yuga is when Krishna is killed. And the so-called that stump is taken. And then it is made. It is out of that the arrowhead is made.
Yes, correct.
Krishna is killed. So why is it that only these 2 have got such inherent length? Was it that there is no other written record, recorded evidence, or are we merely ignoring them? Just think about it.
Yeah, we can. It's good to think about it rather than give
all of you would like
that all of us think about it.
It's a forum where we are not here only to listen and enjoy and go.
Very correct. Yes.
What Mohan talks normally is something which will make you start thinking about it.
It's a very good point, and let us keep it as a reflect maybe in one of the future for
and also
sessions.
Karna. Karna, I would say, was the real hero in the Mahabharata because he stood for a number of things. But as a person whose character,
correct.
It is not explained in fuller detail. I'm happy I came today because I didn't get the link on time, but you sent it just on time.
In fact, very importantly, Karna's generosity is glorified in so many places. Particularly the same Krishna who asked Arjun to do vadam of Karna. At a later point in the Mahabharata, it says that Krishna was asked who is a better, more charitable person, Yudhishthira or Karna? So Krishna said, without doubt, it is Karna. He said, how can you do that? So Krishna said quite simply, watch this. So he gave the same amount of gold to both Karna and Yudhishthira and said, distribute. Yudhishthira called everybody and said, stand in a queue. I'm going to give you gold weight in your weight of gold. I'm going to give to you. Karna simply piled it up at the center and left the place and said, please take your share. And at the end of the day, there should be zero balance. So it's a very beautiful story to show his generosity. And somebody who has promised a friend whose life could be at stake, and the mother who abandoned him, he tells, I give you my word. You will anyway have Pancha Pandavas in your life. Either me or Arjun. It was amazing. He's no ordinary character. The problem was when you talk about, someday we'll talk about that, when you talk about the Punya Karma, Papa Karma, every Punya Karma is a credit entry. Every Papa Karma is a debit entry. And they don't cancel themselves out. You will get all the outcome, good results of Punya Karma, and you will be punished for all the Papa Karma. So that's how it is said. And thank you very much, Surya Narayan Rauji, for raising this question. I would like people to reflect on it and talk. It's like you very correctly said, it is not a one-way street here. Let's reflect. Let people reflect and come back. Now I'll invite Dr. Smita. She wanted to share a story. It's over to you. The screen is yours. I will unmute.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. So today, I am not probably going to say a story, but describe a scene from Mahabharata. It has those dialogue and conversation, which was inspiring for me, and it helped me. And it highlights something, the importance of a Sukhrada, pronounce it right, Sukhrada in our life. So what a Sukhrada is, I mean, we just heard in two weeks before in the Gita class when Mohan sir said, a friend, but who's a well-wisher. Okay. We all know very well
the pronunciation is Sukhrid.
Sukhrid.
Okay. Sa mein choti hu, ha with the ra, the Sukhrid.
Sukhrid. Okay, fine. Okay, I'll practice that later, but fine. Thank you. So it's the post Draupadi this episode, because we know that all that very well. But what remained etched in my mind was how she was able to come out of it, of this horrid incidents, which not only changed her, but kind of everyone's destiny into it. So, okay, let's start. So after the insult in the Kuru Sabha, Draupadi walks out of Hastinapur and comes by herself to Indraprastha. I mean, she leaves the Pandavas behind. She barges inside her palace in rage. She has this long dresses, but it's tousled and disheveled. No tiara on her head, forehead bruised, bruised arms, bruised face, and torrents of grief coursing out of her eyes. Subhadra sees her walking in and she's shocked. She goes running to her to embrace her asking, "What happened, Gigi?" Draupadi is so angry, she stops her. "Do not embrace me, Subhadra. You will get burned. Back then, I had descended from the sacrificial fire, but now I have a fire burning in me. I do not wish to see anyone, just no one." And she walks out. She goes into a chamber, locks herself up. Subhadra pleads, bangs on the door, but in vain. Draupadi closes all the windows, pulls the curtains, and sits in the corner of her room in the darkness. After some time, the Pandavas come to the Indraprastha, realizing what happened from Subhadra. They go running to Draupadi's chamber and beg her to open the door. Yudhishthira is guilt-ridden. He is requesting for an opportunity for reparation. Nakul gets worried. Draupadi is in a disturbed state, agitated, she might harm herself. And then the mighty Bhim says, "Bhrata, give me the permission to break open the door." But his strength fails. He's like, "Asambhav, I mean, impossible. My one blow of arm is enough to break even the stone castle. This mere wooden door, why can't it break open?" And then the insightful Sahadev says, "The door is locked by Panchali's Sankalpa, Bhrata. Breaking the resolution of an agonized heart is more difficult than you breaking a stone castle." That's when Arjuna realized none of us will be able to open the door. Only Madhav can open it. Then Krishna arrives at Indraprastha. Pandavas are all standing there, head down. They don't have courage to look into his eyes. However, Arjuna goes kind of make an attempt to say Pranipat. Krishna sternly says, "I cannot accept your greetings at the moment, Prince Arjun. Until Draupadi do not pardon you, I cannot pardon you either." He turns to his sister and asks, "Where is my friend?" Subhadra narrates how she had locked the door of her chamber, to which Krishna remarks, "She has closed the doors of her heart. How will she open the doors of her chamber?" And he walks away, goes to the Draupadi's chamber. So he reaches there. It is a huge, white wooden door, carved and all. His eyes is filled with pain seeing the door. But he obediently opened up to his command. As the door opens up, Draupadi is sitting there on the floor like a statue standing on the door entrance. He just says Panchali. He calls her out. She opens her eyes, standing at the entrance when she hears this. So Krishna says, friends are those who share the feelings of their hearts. I too have a share in the agony of your heart, Sakhi. So I am here to have my share of the pain. I mean, अपने भाग्य की पीड़ा प्राप्त करने आया हूँ. This is what he says. So that's when she opens her eyes and looks at him, but with a grief-filled voice. I mean, she has no courage to say, but she says, "Go away, Govind. मैं मलिन हो चुकी हूँ. I have been tarnished. The one who comes close to me, वो भी मलिन हो जाएगा." And hearing this, Krishna assures her, "Keep faith in my friendship, Sakhi. A person who bathes in the river gets cleansed, but this does not leave the river dirty." And the empress bursts out of crying. She gets up from the floor, goes running to the door, and falls at its feet sobbing. Krishna, I mean, he holds back his tears with a lump on his throat. In his throat, he sits down next to her and holding her. Okay, I just have to change the background. And then she's like, "Kyun, Govind, kyun?" Draupadi asked, "Why did this happen to me? Such a grave insult. What sin did I commit? Which fruit of karma I am repaying?" And Krishna keeps her hand on her shoulder, and to console her, she's like, "Whatever happened, friend, was neither because of your actions, nor did you reap the fruit of any actions of your past. It was merely an unexpected event which happened to you. In fact, it was the Kauravas reaping the fruit of their past karmas by engaging in such a grief misdeed." And he further explains कि कर्म के सिद्धांत ये का तात्पर्य यही है. I mean, a good deed will lead one to do more of a better actions, and a bad deed leads to do worse deeds one after another. And then the life of a person who commits misdeeds becomes hell. Draupadi retorts, "Nark to मैं भोग रही हूँ, Govind. I am the one experiencing the agony, but..." And then Krishna says, "तो उस पीड़ा का त्याग करो, सखी." Krishna tells her to relinquish the agony. What happened with you in Hastinapur was not because of your actions. However, the way you will transform the forthcoming events will certainly be your own action, your karma. If you fill your heart with sorrow and animosity, then you too shall experience hell. And why should their misdeed make you go through hell? Why you want to suffer in hell for their dushkarmas? Relinquish this animosity, friend. He is like, man ko nirmal kar lo. A river takes all the filth tossed into it and pours it into the ocean. The river gets cleans herself in this way. You too, my friend, pour all your pain, give away all your agonies of your heart in the hands of the Ishvara. Paramatma is always prepared to absorb the suffering of the entire world. Draupadi is like, maaf kar do. In other words, I must pardon the entire Kurusabha. Krishna gently holds her hands, looks into her eyes, and affirms, "Ha, Sakhi, yes, friend, pardon them. Otherwise, the revenge shall consume you. You will not be able to uphold the justice." न्याय नहीं कर पाओगे सखी. प्रतिशोध दुष्कर्म है and न्याय सत्कर्म है. And Draupadi is unable to infer, भेद क्या है, Govind? What is the difference between revenge and justice? Then he makes her realize by questioning back. When they have treated the Aryavat Chakravati Samragini in such a horrendous manner, what will they do to an ordinary woman of the society? Think about it, my friend. Try to visualize the pain of the world in your. Transfer your sorrows into a struggle. So she's like, dukho ko sangharsh bana lo. And then he tells, do understand one thing, Sakhi. The one who lets one sorrow consumes oneself become weak. वो निर्बल बन जाता है. But the one who deems the sorrow of the society to be his own sorrow, he becomes strong. तो केवल अपनी पीड़ा का विचार मत करो, वो दुष्कर्म है, किंतु सारे संसार की पीड़ा का उपाय ढूंढना सत्कर्म है. And that's when she said, yes, my friend, I am asking you, sabse pehle Duryodhan ko maaf karo. That is, you're going to be a first step towards his destruction. And then look for ways to cleanse the world of evil men like Duryodhana and others like him. Not just for yourself, but for the society. You must fight for the welfare of the weak men and weak women in the society. There will be a lot of bloodshed, yes, but it is a righteous war. परमात्मा के लिए किया गया युद्ध, इतनी भी हिंसा हो, वो फिर भी धर्म युद्ध है. And then he turns back and asks, कर पाओगी सखी? By now she's filled with purpose and strength. She simply wipes her tears and nods, हाँ Govind. And she's like, thank you. She thanks him, I mean, for lighting up the lamp of knowledge and dispelling the darkness that was filled in her heart. And she was able to forgive him, even her husband and Yudhishthira and all of them. So that's how, I mean, this story inspired me, because that's how a life and a destiny is transformed when it is touched by a friend like a Krishna, Sukrita. So a pain could be turned into a power. It became her power. So I wanted to tell this story mainly. So I mean, when the lockdown was imposed in 2020, Mahabharata, Ramayana were aired on the TV that time. So this scene, I mean, when I was going through some problems in my life, and how I felt, oh, I wish I had a Krishna in my life, a friend like him who could always advise me, be there, tell me, I mean, that point of time, is this isn't right, or what am I doing, is it right or wrong? I wish I had somebody like him who could tell me what is right, what is wrong. That's how I felt was an important. And I always kept feeling that, and 1 year later, yeah, my wish was fulfilled. I did get a Krishna in my life. So the storytelling attempt basically is to say thank you to you, my AP. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you so much. Yeah. That's it.
Story was an amazing piece of story. It's really amazing the way she brought it out. And yeah, we were a member of a group where we were called Accountability Partners, AP. That's why Dr. Smita calls me accountability partner. Meaning, Sukhrita is a person whom you need in your life, especially for venting out. Okay. Sometimes a friend may get bored, yaar, kya shuru ho gayi Ram kahani. But a Sukhrita will not only listen to you, sometimes he may not answer you, but you may get your answers. So that was that's how the role of a Sukhrita, and the Sukhrita we translate it as AP. Accountability partner, that if you make a commitment, yes, I will get up at 6 o'clock. I'm going into the storytelling aspect of it. Okay. The storytelling aspect, like when you tell the story should not be from here. The story should be from the heart. All your emotions should be into the story. At the same time, there has to be a small gap. For instance, very often I quote this song, a friend is a Rajai Rai is a singer. There are some people who sing. So let's say you're singing the song, Bhari Duniya Mein Aakhir Dil Ko Samjhane Kahan Jaye. When you are singing this song, you break down and cry, then you are not a singer. But if you are able to keep smiling and convey the emotion, then it becomes a ras. But if you get into the feeling, then it becomes viras. You have to remember this. And that's one thing I learned. When Mohammad Rafi sings this song, please look at some old tape. He'll be smiling. He'll be smiling, but heart will be giving out a lot of emotions. So our storytelling objective through these stories and various other things which I'm trying to reach out to people is, can we get that space, valuable space, where I'm able to become objective to the challenges that I face in my life. If I'm getting objective, then as Dr. mentioned, the pida becomes a Shakti. The pain becomes your power. But if you are not able to be objective, the pain consumes you. Okay, this is again very beautifully brought out. It's wonderful, amazing. I didn't know she was such a good story. That was amazing. That's wonderful.
You remember
And
the song from Aaj Sajan Mohe Sangal?
Aaj Sajan More Angal Lagaya. Lovely. Yes, indeed.
This next stanza. Hriday ki pida.
Meri Hriday ki pida. Yes, lovely. Let it go away. Let it go away. And that Angalagalo is something, where the Sukhrit validates my emotion. That's very important. No, don't miss. It's a subject matter of my Saturday anger management sessions. I say I'm getting angry and somebody tells me, don't get angry. What can be a more frustrating piece of advice? Because I don't get angry by choice. So the objectivity is very amazing story. Very well told. Very well told. Okay. We are now just having 4 minutes left. If anybody would like to share any story, any incident, remember, it's not just, you have to bring it can be a story which happened to somebody else. It can be a story you read. It can be an incident you read. But Ajay Rai want to say something? Then unmute. Yeah. It can be, Suresh Nanda, you can unmute. Remember, 3 subjects we try to avoid for the sake of propriety. One is we don't talk politics because it hurts a lot of people. We don't talk too much details into religious practices. At least we don't condemn practices. So keeping out these subjects, anything is welcome. Over to Suresh Nanda.
Can you hear me, Mohan?
Yes, I can hear you, Suresh.
Sir, thank you. It's a mind-blogging session. I would like to share my feelings. Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Bhagavad Gita. It is a way of life. This is nothing to do with any religion. Then, what I want to say, then my personal view, as you sow, so shall you reap. That is, and truth always triumphs. These are my cardinal principles of my life. Thank you. That's all, sir.
Wonderful, wonderful. Excellent. Anybody else would like to share something? I'm happy to welcome today Dr. Sukanya has come today.
Is Suresh Nanda, the name strikes heart. Was it part of your Gita sessions which you are speaking at my house at one time?
No, Suresh Nanda is from Delhi.
Oh, not from Orissa.
No, he's from Orissa.
You are from Orissa.
But I live in Delhi.
So you must have come to our house in Chennai.
Have you ever come to the house in Chennai? Do you live in Chennai, Suresh?
Did you stay?
I live in Chennai in Greenways Road for 6 months in 91.
Yes, when he was attending this Krishnamurti's lecture,
absolutely.
he would come home with Vijaya.
Yeah.
You know Vijaya? You know Vijaya? Vijaya Narayan Rao, you know.
Yes.
You know
Vijaya Rao and Vikram, then Dr. Pachure, who was JD's.
Pachure, he was there.
Pachure.
I
had a lovely session with them.
I am Vijaya's husband.
Yes.
Mr. Narayan Rao?
Yes, correct.
What I spoke to you now, I want something else. There is one of your... Yes.
Vijayaka was my godmother.
Yes.
I had been to your houses several times at TTK Road at Madras.
Exactly, same. The name
you remember Narayan Rao, sir?
Yes, I am Narayan Rao.
Anna?
Yes.
You live street at TTK Road?
Yes, no, I don't stay there. I moved away from there for some time. Vijaya passed away in 97.
Yeah, after that I visited you.
After that you came.
126 Cosmos.
Exactly.
126 Cosmos, TTK Road.
Now you'll answer one more question.
Sure.
You had one of your friends who was a girl. Difficult.
She had a bitter experience with Vijayaka and you.
Where is she?
Oh,
where is that girl?
I don't know. I don't want to know. I just wanted to help her.
No,
But-
she came home. She
Yeah.
Yes, she
She
came
came
home
home.
and she was
No,
in
no.
distress. She was helped from here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. And
You know,
If we can find out
I'm
where she
very-
is, please let me know.
Narayan Rao,
Yeah.
I am very happy with Jyoti Bhatt, was a Kashmiri girl,
Yes. Sir.
but I am very unhappy and very disappointed with another girl who was a very dear friend of.
Yeah. I think the connection is
the
gone.
connection is, yeah. In fact, we did start a Bhagavad Gita session at Mr. Narayan Rao's house. It was his wife, Vijay Lakshmi Rao, who was the architect of that class. And she was the one, she said, start something in my house. And we started in the house and it went on regularly till she got a job and she became sick and 97 she passed. I mean, it was a very regular Monday session. I can't forget those classes. We had a lovely atmosphere and we did very good study. Then it's very nice that you could meet Suresh Nanda and get it right. Very nice. Thank you very much all for being here for one more episode of storytelling. On Saturday morning, 11 o'clock, we meet for anger management session. And on Monday, we are back to another storytelling episode. Have a wonderful Monday.